Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever the time of the day it is. Welcome to Ms. Perkins' literature class. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you here today. We are going to learn about point of view. So let's get started. I am going to, while I'm putting this up, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you. I'm going to be working with you this week on point of view. And this skill, let me clear this out so when the presentation comes up. This skill, we're going to start off at a surface level and then kind of work our way up, okay? So we're going to start off small, then work our way big, all right? More in depth. So when we think about point of view, we think about who's talking, who is doing the talking in the text. That is what I want you to think about when you think of point of view. Who's talking? And then later on this week, we're going to go into the details of how are they feeling, what do they think, what do they believe. But right now, we're just going in to identify who's talking. All right, so these skills are going to cover third grade skills, fourth grade skills, fifth grade skills, and I didn't include this on here, but it really goes into sixth grade skills. So at our foundational level, we're looking at a narrator of the story. Then we're thinking about the narrator of a story and the speaker of the poem and discerning the two. Then we're thinking about differentiating between first and third person point of view, okay? So we are going to learn all of these components, narrator of a story, speaker of a poem, first and third person point of view. If you are in third grade, you will be ready for fourth grade. If you are in fourth grade, you will be so ready for fifth grade. And if you are in fifth grade, you are going to be so ready for sixth grade. All right, so let's begin. Before we move too far into our lesson, we have to understand critical vocabulary words. And so critical vocabulary words are words that we need in order to make sure that we understand what we're learning. So our point of view vocabulary words are narrator, speaker, pronoun, first person point of view, and third person point of view. So the narrator is the person telling the story. A speaker is the person who is talking in the poem, right, or telling the events that occur in the poem. A pronoun is a word that substitutes a noun. And then first person point of view is a character in the story or a poem, right? They're telling the story, okay? Third person point of view, the person that's telling the story or poem, they are outside of the text. They are not in the text, all right? So don't worry about copying these down. You have the slides. We're going to go through this throughout our lesson. It will be embedded in your brain by the time we finish. All right, so let's get started. So here's my beautiful, magnificent anchor chart. And as you notice, I am not, as you look at it, an artiste. So I want to show you first my illustrations. This is a person, and they're holding a microphone. This is an image of a book, and there is this little thing right here, that's a person. And then at the bottom, I have an image of a person, and they're holding a book. All right, so this is going to be our anchor chart. So when you think back to your classroom, in your class, you had anchor charts. They were all around your room, and what your teacher was doing was she was giving you a platform where you could go and you can reference those materials to make sure that you understand them as you're learning. And then once you've mastered those, then the anchor charts could disappear and you would remember that stuff automatically. Okay, so this is your own personal anchor chart that you're going to create. And you want to make sure that when we're finished, that you don't put it in the trash, underneath your bed, ball it up, use it as a paper ball. You want to hold on to this because we'll need it for the remainder today, the remainder of the week. You may find that you can look at it and use it over the summer, and I guarantee that you will need it for next year, okay? So you can, in a minute, put me on pause and gather your materials, but I'm just going to go over it really quickly, and then we're going to pause so you can get what you need, get settled, get a snack, get ready. So again, this is my masterpiece, my anchor chart. And the big umbrella here is point of view. Okay, so when you think about point of view, I want you to think about who's talking. So in a story, the narrator is talking, and in a poem, the speaker is talking. Okay, first person point of view, the character is inside the text, and this story is taking place from their perspective, from their view. So it's what they think and what they feel and their actions and actions that are against them. And so it's really thinking about them. So think about a selfish person as I, me. That is first person point of view. It is told from totally their perspective. Okay. Third person point of, oh, let me go back. So your clue words to help you are called pronouns. I, me, mine, our are all your clue words, okay? You can also add we in there. And those clue words help you to understand that the point of view is a first person point of view. When you think of third person point of view, I want you to think of a character, or not a character, but a person outside of the text. So outside of the story, outside of the poem, that's telling a story about someone else. Okay, so they're using pronoun clues such as he, she, or they. All right, so let's go over this one more time. So our big umbrella is point of view. And when you think of point of view, you think of who's talking. Is it the narrator in a story or a speaker in a poem? Is this written in first person point of view? Meaning that it's coming from the character inside the text, whether it's a story or a poem, and they're really selfish because they're talking about themselves and it's about them and their feelings and their thoughts and beliefs. And they're using clue words, pronouns, I, me, my, our, we. Okay. Third person point of view, the person is outside of the text and they're using pronouns like he, she, or they. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you a couple minutes. Pause me. Remember, if you pause, you can always press play. I'll be right back. You are going to get everything that you need so that you can create your own masterpiece. I can only imagine what your illustrations are going to look like. I know they're going to be 1,000 times better than mine. And if they're not, we're okay with stick figures. Okay, I'm going to play some music while you are creating your anchor chart. And once the music ends, I'm going to begin the next portion of the lesson. So if you find that you're not finished, that's okay. Remember, you can always pause me, press play, and I'll be right back. All right, so let's begin. Okay, so remember, if you are not finished, feel free to pause me and I will be back. But let's go over this one more time. Point of view, big umbrella, think about who's talking. The narrator is the person that's talking in a story, and the speaker is the person that's talking in a poem. First person, character in the text. Inside the text, they're selfish. It's about I, me, my. It's based on their point of view, their feelings, their thoughts, their beliefs. They use the clue words I, me, my, our, sometimes we. Third person point of view, the person is outside of the text, whether it's a story or poem, and they're telling a story about someone else, right? They're talking about someone else. So your clue words, pronouns, he, she, or they, okay? All right, so we're gonna start off very simplistic and then we're gonna grow. So we're gonna look at lines, sentences, we're gonna look at paragraph, then we're gonna go into a text together, and then you guys are gonna be responsible for looking at a text on your own, okay? So I went to the beach with my friends. I'm looking for pronoun clues. I see I and I see my. So I'm thinking that this is first person point of view. I'm going to look at my handy dandy chart. Guys, remember that from Blue's Clues, handy dandy notebook. Anyway, I'm looking at my chart. My chart says that I'm right. It's first person point of view because it has the pronouns I and my. All right, the next one. She went to the beach with her friends. Pronoun clues, she, her. Look at my anchor chart. Third person point of view. All right, so now it's your turn. You have two practices. So what I want you to do is I want you to read the sentence to yourself, and I want you to identify the pronouns, and then based on those pronouns, refer back to your anchor chart if you need to, and determine whether this sentence is written in first or third person point of view. Oh my goodness, you are absolutely right. The two pronouns that we see are he and his. Awesome job. So that means that it's written in what? Yes, third person point of view. Great job. Great job. All right, so let's look at the next one. Go ahead and read it. Identify those pronouns. And then think about what point of view is this written in? First person or third person? Excellent. I am my. You are absolutely correct. Great job. So that means that it is written in first person point of view. Excellent job. Okay, so now we have those sentences. So now keep it in mind, we're going to extend this a little bit. We're thinking about identifying those pronouns, but then also thinking about who is the story going to be about. Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs. One pig built a house of straw, while the second pig built his house with sticks. They built their houses very quickly and then sang and danced all day because they were lazy. Pronoun clue words. I see. His. I see they. I see their. Those are all third person clue words. Okay, so this is written in third person point of view. And this story is going to be about, as I'm sure that you know, the 3 little pigs, right? So someone from the outside is telling the story about the 3 little pigs. Our evidence, third person pronouns. His, they, their. Okay? All right, so we looked at it in a sentence, we looked at it in a paragraph. Now it is time for us to look at it within text. So remember, we're thinking about, is this being told by a narrator, a speaker? Is this first person? Is this third person? What is our evidence? What are the pronouns, our clues to help us come up with that? And then who's actually telling the story? All right, so the story is the true story of the 3 little pigs. Everybody knows the story of the 3 little pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story before. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. All right. So we're going to stop there. This is going to be the text that we use throughout the week as we dig deeper into point of view and characterization and all those other components. All right. So I know that this right here is not a poem. I didn't see any lines. I didn't see stanzas. But what I do know is that this is a story. And because it's a story, the person telling the story is called a narrator. Okay? So when I look on the first page of the text, I saw the word my. I saw I'll. Now, I'll is I will. So the pronoun I is there, but I'll is a contraction. But I, we know, still I'm is another clue word. Even though it's a contraction, I am, those 2 words put together into I'm, it still uses I. It says, I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. And then I see another clue word. I see I. And then I also saw the clue word, the pronoun me. Okay. So I know that this is told in first person based on the pronoun clue words. I also know that the person that's telling the story is the big bad wolf. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf, right? Okay, so as whenever you read, okay, so whenever you read, you want to think about the narrator, right? And you want to think about the main characters. And so when we go through the process of today and the remainder of this week, we're really going to talk about point of view. From whose point of view is the text written or the story told? How does that impact characters, their view on their conflict? So we're really going to dig in deep, okay? So, but we're starting off very small. So I hope that you got that. Narrator, story, speaker, poem. This is written in first person point of view because it used words like I, me, my, and it's being told from the perspective of the wolf, which is probably going to be totally different from the perspective of the story, The Three Little Pigs, right? Okay, so now that we have that together, I'm going to share my screen one more time. This is the last part. Okay, jump back over here. So when you read, because you're going to be tasked to read two, I've attached two different stories for you. So, or text, story, poems. Um, and so what you're going to do is you are going to keep notes. So ideally, when I read this, I would have been writing, but I was holding up the book. I would have been writing out what I'm thinking. So I would have written out that this is a story and this narrator, first person. I would have made my notes. So make sure that when you're reading your passages, right, or your book, because I do want you to think about how this applies to something that you're reading, that you enjoy reading, a book that you've selected. You want to make sure that you keep notes. And your notes, and it can be on a sheet of paper, your notes would just be kind of formatted like this, where you would have the title of what you read. You would have down whether it was a narrator or speaker, whether it was first person or third person, and then you have your clue words. Okay? So you are going to read one of the texts provided. You can read both of the texts. You can read both of the texts and you can read your own story. You're going to write down the name. You're going to write down whether it's the narrator that's telling it, the speaker that's telling it, first person or third person point of view, and then your clue words that helped you identify that. Now, we have all this thinking going on, and you're doing a lot of listening, and I'm sure you're over there participating, you're writing, you're drawing, and all of those things are going to help you remember. And looking back at that anchor chart is going to help you remember. But also what's going to help you remember and understand is if you share this information with a sibling or a parent, a friend, and you just talk through, because that helps you process and remember what you're learning. So that is the end of today's lesson. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all again here tomorrow. Enjoy your rest of your morning, rest of your afternoon, rest of your evening, and see you soon.